All right, everybody, I want to take a few minutes to answer a very simple but really fundamental question before we go any further in this class. And that question is, what is anthropology? Um, there are a few different ways to answer this. This is how I usually choose to do it, breaking the word down in the middle, in half. So first you have anthrop, which means human. And then there is ology, which means the study of. So when you put those together, you literally get the study of humans. But I like to add a few more additional pieces to that. So let's run with the following definition together. The holistic study of humankind in the past and the present. So we have the study of humans in there, but I also added a few extra terms. Holistic, meaning big picture, and of course the past and the present, what happened before, tells us more information about what's happening today. But a lot of disciplines study human beings. So you might be asking yourselves, what makes anthropology so special? What makes it so unique? And that comes down to the how we study human beings. And in order to study people in a holistic way, we have 4 different subfields of anthropology. We're going to make a quick list now, and then we're going to go one by one with a little bit more detail. The first subfield of anthropology is cultural. Second is linguistic. Third, physical. And finally, the fourth one is archaeology. So let's get a little bit more information about each one of those. The first subfield, cultural anthropology, simply put, is looking at people today. Human groups that are around today. What are they doing? What occupies their time? What do they believe in? So on and so forth. So that includes a lot of things, but just some examples. Usually involves the anthropologist spending a lot of time with the local people who they are studying. They would look at their religion, their belief systems, how those change over time. They might look at what they do in their day-to-day or social movements to change the circumstances of their lives. So all of these things, and of course many, many more, are included in cultural anthropology. But let's move to the second subfield, linguistic anthropology. Again, simply put, that is looking at human language, which includes a lot of different languages, of course. For example, you can look at language diversity in a certain area or a certain country, like in Mexico. It's more than just Spanish. There's like 68 total languages spoken there. So looking at the language variation in a given place is one job of a linguistic anthropologist. Also understanding the different sounds that we make, the b, the m, the p, and so on, and how those things are produced in the human mouth is an important part of understanding why people speak the way they do. And this, of course, includes signed languages as well. And, not to mention how children grow up learning their language. How we talk to kids is often very different from how we talk to adults. So all of these things would be part of linguistic anthropology too. Our third subfield is physical anthropology. And that is looking at human origins or human evolution. So who we are physically and how did we get to this point from a biological perspective. This, of course, looks very closely at human evolution, evolution of other animals as well. What did our ancestors look like, so on and so forth. Even looking at the DNA, the genetics of past human ancestors, or even past human groups more recently, and understanding what sort of things we share with those past humans. And we can't forget about primatology is also part of physical anthropology, looking at monkeys or apes and seeing what we share with them and what makes them distinct, because they are our closest living relatives on the planet. Fourth and finally, there is archaeology, which is looking at human groups in the past, so they're not around anymore. So how do you learn about people in the past if you can't have a conversation with them? Well, one of the best ways is to look at their stuff. Look at the stuff that they left behind. In other words, their artifacts, things like their tools that they used in their everyday, or even looking at the civilizations that they were able to build thousands of years ago in some cases. And of course, we got to give a brief nod to underwater archaeology, because that is a fascinating turn of this subfield as well. Okay? So with a very brief summary of the 4 subfields, I hope you have a better understanding of what they're all about. One thing I want you to really keep in mind with these 4 subfields is that you can't just do one and be completely isolated from the other 3. These subfields often intersect, and what is very, very common is that anthropologists will blend different subfields together in order to reach more holistic answers to their research questions during field work. So keep that in mind as we move forward in the class. So let's do a quick summary of what we just did. First thing, anthropologists study humans. Got it. Second thing, there are 4 holistic subfields that provide perspectives for anthropological research. And the third thing, the 4 subfields are not isolated from each other. They often collaborate and coincide. And in fact, to that very last point, I'm going to post a video right below this one that gives you a little bit of a sense of how different subfields can come together in anthropological research. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.